Hey everybody, it's Nick Inman, founder of VolumeProfileTrader.com on Wednesday, October 17th. And the markets have basically approached the top of this current range, the S&P. The NASDAQ, excuse me about that, the NASDAQ lagging without a doubt, basically back at what was support from early mid-September and late mid-October. We're back at these levels, so theoretically support becomes resistance. So we're waiting on that. One thing to note on the NASDAQ is the point of control is going to shift soon from 25.45 current levels up to either 27.13 or 27.72. That means one of two things. One, values migrating higher, and we're going to see another push up higher on the NASDAQ, or we're going to have a bunch of stuck buyers and the NASDAQ's going to roll over. I do think it is the first, which is values migrating higher, and we're going to make another push higher. However, let's be patient. Let's wait for it to work itself out and kind of go from there. This current month's point of control and the value area low for August ended up being pretty solid support. I should say value area low for August ended up being pretty solid support, and the point of control formed at the very bottom of the range. Notice, and this is pretty cool. Here, I'll do it like this. Price came down, and this volume developed, over the course of these days, and eventually you had a higher low off of the point of control, and then a nice push to basically the 50-day moving average and the 20-day. If the 50-day provides as support, we should get another push higher. Let's get the levels. Value area low, we're basically there, but let's call it that. Value area low from last month, 27.86 up to around 2,800. And then if the NASDAQ really gets going, I'd be looking at the highs from October or the point of control for the month of September. Either or will be fine. Now, the S&P, I guess you could say re-bullish when price got back above September's point of control yesterday, and we saw a nice follow through today. Look at all of the positive volume bars we have seen since basically the bottom. A lot, and the selling is little to none. So let's take advantage of that and realize that the buyers are in control. Sure, we're at the top end of the range, but let's see if the sellers can sell into this and show us that we should no longer be long. Now, Apple, I did take some off today, and the reason why, and I'll show you, is because I basically drew a line. And the line was, let's see if I can get it. It was today. All right, so I guess it was pretty early on. So all I did was I drew a line and I connected the lows. And I basically said if this trend line's breached, I'm going to scale down on Apple, regardless if it's right or wrong, just because I'm in a position where I went from holding a lot of cash to being allocated to the long side pretty quick in 2 days. And I want to watch that because if I am wrong, if the market is, for example, balancing, or for example, Apple, a potential lower high here, I don't want to be caught on the wrong side of this. So do I want to stay involved? Yes, I do want to stay involved in Apple, but I cut 2/3 of the position, and I'm okay with this. Earnings come out in, let's see, the 25th, which is next Thursday, so a week from now. And I'm okay with just holding 1/3 of a position. If we get another opportunity, for example, if Apple looks like it's going to go to 660, then I'll look to buy at least, and try to participate in that rally, and then look to scale out before earnings again. All right, Caterpillar, this was a name got long the beginning of Tuesday, the beginning of the day. 83.45 was my entry price, so it was literally at the bottom end. Now my stop is at break even, so I have no risk on the trade. My first target was hit today at 86.45. However, I raised my target from 86.45 up to 87.45, another dollar to the upside. What that essentially does is it gives me a little more wiggle room and lets me evaluate the trade. What I'm looking at right now is we're getting a pretty nice bounce off of these levels, 2-day bounce. Earnings come out on the 22nd, which is Monday, so we have a couple days for this trade. I'm willing to raise my target even more, another dollar or so, if in fact it presents itself. 50-day moving average is at that 87.45 level, which is one of the reasons why I chose that level, and plus it's close enough to the top of the range. So we'll have to wait and see, but this is a name that right here, right now, nothing's wrong with it. I want to stay involved. I want to see if this can turn around and continue to the upside, because if it can, 95, mid-90s, that's a possibility, and that's a pretty nice gain. So we'll just have to wait and see. Bristol Myers, no way I'm taking this trade off. It's working. It's working rather well. Earnings 24th, which is next Wednesday. Now I'm short the 34/32 credit put spreads expiring in November. So far, so good. I have more than half of the premium out of that position so far. So maybe I look to unwind that position and roll it out. But for now, I'm just going to let time do its thing. Altria, this position's in profit territory. 35/32 credit put spread. Earnings on the 25th. Actually, these expire Friday, 2 days from now. So I would have to roll them out. They're in slight profit territory, so I'm going to let it see what it can do. If it can rally up to 34 or so by the end of the week, I'll be happy and have some decent profits in this trade. Silver, actually hanging in there, but what I want to look at is some other silver names. For example, Pan American Silver, right at the point of control for the year, just consolidating. Keep an eye on it. Silver Wheaton, just consolidating at 52-week highs. Just keep an eye on it. If this thing consolidates, here's our range, give or take. Just keep an eye on it. We're in an uptrend. This looks good. Looks stronger than silver at least. And kind of go from there. Gold, hanging in there. That's what you want to see. Gold futures, same thing. Not a problem there. ConocoPhillips continues to work. This thing, I think it's important to look at it on a bigger scale. So I'm going to look at a 3-day chart. Point of control, we're bouncing off of that. Let's see if this thing can break out. Earnings on the 25th. Just want to point that out and kind of go from there. But really, that's about it. There's really not much else I have to say about the market. As long as we hold last month's point of control, which is 1433, I think it's right to be long this market. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. NASDAQ underperforming. However, the NASDAQ point of control for the year is going to shift soon. When that happens, I'm willing to say I guarantee we're going to get another nice vertical move in the NASDAQ. Up or down, not really sure, but from the looks of it, I don't see why not up another leg. As long as, nothing crazy happens in the market. Just to show you the SPX, this looks pretty good. 1425 has held really nicely in the SPX. And this is just a little different than the S&P futures, but essentially the same thing. I just want to give you an idea. We're in a trading range, approaching the top end of the range, so we could be in profit territory zone, but overall the trend looks pretty good, right? So just keep an eye on it. Realize that all trends eventually come to an end, but right here, right now, as long as 1435 holds on the S&P futures, we're good to go. So anyways, I hope this helps. Take care. Have a great night.